Welcome to the AirCon Vault. Here you can find recordings of the live streams from Eric's audio conference. These are made free thanks to our sponsors. A sound effect, Audio Kinetic, Boom Library, Bright Skull, Dolby, Fmod, Game Audio Learning, Game SoundCon, Kilohertz, Motion Picture Sound Editors, Rev Rooms, Sound Cuts, Sound Warriors, and Airwiggles, the online home for audio creatives. We hope you enjoy the video.
I am Navi.
Now, you are what I made you!
I was abducted by the RDA and trained in their ways. For 15 years, they kept me from my world and my people.
Wait. You have the mark. You are Sorrento. The poor child knows nothing of our ways. Let Home Tree be a refuge from your burdens.
I must seek those who can teach me the ways of the Navi and help me reconnect with my world.
Follow me!
I won't hurt you. No!
You are starting to think like a Navi. Now, we will teach you to ride like one.
Now Pandora is under attack again. I will not allow the RDA to destroy this land. This is my home.
The Navi will fight on your side against the RDA.
I am Navi, and I will protect Pandora. Sivako!
Hello everyone, I'm Adrien, very happy to be here today. That's really an honor for me to be part of such a lineup for Airwiggles, AirCon 2026. So thanks a lot to Lewis and Greg to inviting me doing this presentation. That's really an honor for me. I'm very happy to be there. Today we are gonna talk about a game, and this game is Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora. It's a Ubisoft game based on the universe of James Cameron and the Lifetime Entertainment. The main game was released in 2023, and it was followed by two DLCs, The Skybreaker and The Secrets of the Spire, released in 2024, and then an expansion called From the Ashes, which was released in 2025. This game is a collaboration with Massive Entertainment, which was the lead studio of this project, and a collaboration also with many other Ubisoft studios and partners all around the world. So yes, I'm Adrien. I'm an audio designer here in Shanghai, and I've worked on Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora since 2021. I worked on side quests first from 2021 to 2023. Then I worked on the Chiroptera, the creature, main creature from DLC 2. I did only the voice for this creature, while the Foley was made by Ali Studio in Montreal and Ruslan Nesteruk in Shanghai. And I also worked on the expansion on the Mastodon, another very important creature, in 2025. For this creature, I did the voice and all the Foley and sound effect, also in collaboration with Ali Studio in Montreal for the Follies. and also with a big support from Mattia Cellotto, who did a lot of destructible props in the arena where we fight the Mastodon, and also worked on the device of the RDA. Ubisoft Shanghai has a unique expertise on wildlife. We always are called to do some wildlife in many Ubisoft games, so we really have a strong expertise that we developed throughout the years. So that's why I'm very happy to be able to show you today those designs and to talk a bit more about wildlife. Yes. So today, the presentation will be more focused on sound design rather than technical integration, because this is what I know the best, and I think also what passionates me the most on that project. We are going to talk about how to design grounded creatures, right? That's really, I think, the difficulty for this game. And we are going to see together how to follow a direction, because we already have a very strong word, the word of avatars. So how into that direction we define a design and stick to it. What sounds and technique we can use to do that, and what works and what doesn't. So the summary for today, we are gonna first see together like that direction for Avatar Frontiers of Pandora for these two creatures that you can see on the right. So it will be the Chiroptera that you can see on the image on the top right, and the Mastodont on the bottom. We are going to see what kind of research we do first before starting the design, what benchmark we do, how we get our inspiration. Then we are going to see how we cook these animals, because we are going to try a lot of different techniques and recipe mixture put together to try to get the animal. Then we are going to check how to do a style guide. It's very important for such a big game and such an important, strong universe as Avatar is. So we really need to define a style guide to be able to design a new creature in Avatar's Frontier of Pandora. We are going also to see the mass production, which is the moment where we start to craft hundreds of assets for all behaviors and animation. And finally, we will see the final result in-game. So first, let's talk about the direction. Pandora is another Earth, right? In the world of Avatar, Pandora is real. That's very important. It's another Earth somewhere in another galaxy. So in this case, the creature design should be believable. It shouldn't be magical. It should be fantastical, but still, we should really be able to believe that it could exist, right? That's not something completely imaginated, something that doesn't belong to that world. So the most important is we have to have a biological plausibility, and it should be grounded. Again, this is a word I say again because that's really one of the biggest pillars for the design of creature in Avatar Frontier of Pandora. It should be also, of course, original, because it shouldn't sound like something we already heard before, right? We shouldn't like think, oh, this is like this animal on Earth. We can get inspiration because we need to be grounded, but it should be unique, belonging to the world of Pandora. So from this, you see that we will encounter a few challenges. First, how to be original, make something completely new for a creature, yet stay grounded, stay biologically plausible. How do we create a unified voice for a creature? So this one, I think it's something some designers of creatures we have all encountered. That's very difficult. How do we, by bringing all these sources, all this sound together, still get a coherent result that feels like coming from one animal? How do we design a full emotional spectrum, a personality? How through the sound we successfully transmit the emotion, the personality of the creature we design? How do we modulate that on the so many behavior that we need to do? How to craft asset quickly while maintaining variation and quality, very important. And how to implement those sounds so they feel believable in the world. So first, let's check together what kind of research we are going to do before starting our design. And for Avatar, it's very, very important. We have a very strong collaboration, very close collaboration with artists and game designers. So here, for example, we can see a beautiful board made by Wei Ming, our art director here in Ubisoft Shanghai. And we are going to study all this particularity of the creature that we are going to design. So that's going to be the size, that's going to be how it flies, what kind of locomotion, how does it breathe. We are going to check all the details, like, for example, the ears, how do they deploy, how do they close, what kind of animation, what kind of material, what kind of texture. We are going to study all that, and also the habits, how the creature lives, where does it live, is it aggressive or passive, is it a predator, or is it more calm animals, or even a prey that is very scared about everything, etc. We'll have to study all these to be able to do an accurate, biologically plausible design. So for Chiroptera, this is the direction that we get. It's a full-fledged dark creature. Not only because of the region and where it appears, but also for the narrative aspect. It's the dark. It's really like the creature of the dark. It needs to be eerie, impressive, scary. That's really one of the main pillars for this Chiroptera. Big alien bat. So it's gonna, biologically, if we had to compare it to another animal on Earth, that would be a bat. But yet, it's a giant bat first, and it's still not a bat. It's different, it's unique. So we can get inspiration from that, but we still need to find our own vocabulary. Yet, this is still a very important pillar. And then, a predator. The Chiroptera is aggressive, angry. We need to feel like being a prey. Then let's talk about the mastodon. We are going to do the same study by looking at the different different elements of the mastodon. How does it open, for example, the crest? What are the material? This is really great. Like from art, we will even have some support that will, Wei Ming will give us, all this image of comparison of some texture, material, other creature we could have on Earth. So it really helps a lot for the audio to be able to know what kind of sound we need to design. And for the mastodon, there is also, again, a very strong narrative component, because the mastodon is not a predator like the Chiroptera, but it's a creature that has been captured to be used as a gladiator kind of show, so put in an arena. As entertainment for the people on Earth. So the idea are using this kind of device that they will stick on the mastodon to trigger all kind of pain and suffering to be able to control the mastodon and create that show. So this is also something very important in this design, because we will need to create empathy with the mastodon. So for that direction on the mastodon, this is what we get. A very giant and powerful creature. It's the biggest creature of Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, our game. Even bigger than the Zakru. It should be super impressive and super loud. That's very important. And then it's going to be an alien mammoth. So again, we are not doing a mammoth. It's still different. It still have very distinct alien elements. But biologically, if we need to get it a bit closer from an animal, it will be this kind of giant mammoth kind of, elephant kind of animal. So again, it needs to be unique and different. It's not a predator. Okay, the mastodon is not aggressive by nature, but it should feel majestic and imposing, but not scary. And finally, the mastodon is suffering. It's put in this arena, and we need to deliver to help the mastodon to escape. So we need to feel empathy for it. We need to feel really this exhausted aspect of the creature. Okay, now we have our direction. We are ready for cooking. And the first thing that I do usually for designing such animal is repomatic. So I'm going to go through a lot of different references. So it could be movies, games, and I'm going to like record some areas, some part that I really like in the sound design. I'm going to take notes to say what I like in that sound, what I want to stay a bit away, and then do a short montage with all these videos, going one after the other, to get this kind of small short films to really be able to, get an impression of what kind of design I want. So studying, in this case, the voice, the foley, the rhythm, the color, the tonal balance, etc., etc. And then after I do that, I will send these videos to the audio director to be able to already have a confirmation on the direction that I want to take. So let's take a look at it.
Tokun. Thank you. Teeth. No. I don't have any more.
You?
Okay, after I get these inspirations, that I know what kind of design I want to make, at least a direction to experiment, I'm going to record sounds. So this time, I wanted to record frictions. And why? Because what I realized by looking at all these references is that every time we have a very strong tonal component. And the tonal component into those examples will really make the creature stand out. So I know that by friction, we can get something completely new, really a flavor that has not been made, not been used already. So, and it really also depends on the kind of material we experiment with. Also because this is a design for Avatar, Frontiers of Pandora. So we really need to have a signature sound, to have something that stands out. We cannot just already go into our DAW and get some soundbank sound and start to work. We really need to find this unique flavor to really have like what makes Pandora so special. So this is the research I made for Mastodon with friction.
Oh, this one is nice.
Okay, now I have my sounds, and it's time to jump into the DAW and start to do some design and use the sound I record, sound banks and everything, and start to really do the recipe, try to cook this creature together. So you can try to guess which sounds worked the best for the Mastodon. And yes, this is it. The main sound for the voice of Mastodon is a sponge on a window. So I'm not sure if you were able to guess if you just listened the final result in game, but yeah. So okay, let's keep going now for the recording researches for the Chiroptera. And this time I focused more on voice for Chiroptera. Why? Because I really want to get that scary feeling, and I believe that what is the scariest is usually always things that tends to be closer from the human voice, right? Like we see this a lot with zombies, and even when cat fights at night, we are wondering if it's a human voice sometimes, and I think it's quite scary. So yeah, that's why I experimented a lot with that. And there is also a couple more of sound that I record for the Chiroptera. First, this one. So the squeegee, again, even if we've seen it for Mastodon, for Chiroptera it was working well. For Mastodon, it didn't. And also, I'm very lucky to have my sister working as a zookeeper into a bird of prey park. And one day she showed me like the behind the scenes. So we went to see the owls, the bird of prey, and I was able to see a lot of them. And amongst one of them, there was like a small owl that was really kind of angry or hungry, I'm not sure, but was complaining a lot. And it was making an absolutely incredible sound. And for that, I very happily, I had my PCM D100 in my bag. So I was able to record that owl. And it really turned out to be, years later, one of the main sounds for Chiroptera. So again, always have a recorder ready in our bag. I think this is really the very important thing to consider. So let's listen this incredible sound. Okay, so now we have all our recording. We have also, we are ready to design, go into our DAW and combine a lot of elements and try the recipe for Chiroptera. For the Chiroptera, there was also another sound that I had to design, is the click of the Chiroptera, because it's blind like a bat. So to detect the environment around the walls and the cave and that kind of environment, it's going to emit some click like a bat actually to get some ultrasound. And I had also to imagine how to design this kind of like a gigantic kind of bat would do as a click sound to detect the environment. Okay, let's check it. Okay, so now we have seen the walkthrough of our two creatures for the design. So I would like to share with you a few sound design tips, either that I study from other sound designers, either that I find by myself while designing those creatures. So first, I'm not going to talk a lot about this one because I think everyone knows, you already all know, like this is the Sunken CO100K is the best weapon for grounded fantastical creature. The possibility to record like all so high into the frequencies and then to pitch and keep all the details in the high end of the spectrum. Really, it's like basically creating like unreal things from real sources. So for grounded creature, that's the best. I think it's impossible almost to do without it. Unstable tonal sounds work the best. So I already talked a bit about tonal before, so I'm not gonna say more, but I really think that, the tonal sound are what give the identity of a creature. And another very important point is that they go through the mix, because when we will have the music, the weapons, the ambience, everything playing together, if our creature has not a very strong tonal element, range into the spectrum, then it's going to be very hard to hear it through everything. So I think that's really an important thing to consider, even for the presence of the creature when we create a signature sound. Synthesizers are too synthetic, so it's a bit repeating, but I think that, yes, the thing I tried a little bit, but I just think it doesn't work for that kind of design. It really quickly gives like a magical feeling that we want to avoid. Reach the final output of our design during the sound design stage. Yes, I think it's very important to already like have everything go already to 100% of the design, like even the pre-master, have all the layers perfectly mixed, everything, because after when we will go to the mass production stage and we will produce assets, a lot of assets for a lot of behavior, we cannot just come back to all assets and change a parameter for one plugin and then re-export everything. So it's really important to reach the final output during the sound design stage when we design first the voice like that. And also it's going to be really very important to convince the audio director and Disney and Lightstorm of the design of the creature, to really give them already concretely what we will have at the end, and not rely on, for now it sounds like that, but later I will make it more like that to be more grounded, etc. So that's also an important thing to do. Be mindful of the stereo width. I think it's very important to do that, because we get creature for some, element sounds element from so many different places and stuff. And when we bring them together, we can have a lot of weird things happening in the space, in the stereo. I still say stereo because I'm talking about 2D design in the DAW for now. So we need to also check that when we design. And also to stay clear about the tonal balance we aim for. Get reference, stick to the tonal balance, because then we know exactly how we want our sounds to, what color, what presence we have in spectrum, and we do this creature. And after, like 3 months, 4 months, when we are so far in our design, we create a lot of kind of other behavior. It's very easy to forget or to change the mix that we had intentionally at the beginning. And then it's too late to redo everything. So it's very important to keep that tonal balance all the time here to stay true to our initial intention. I want to share with you a few audio tools I found very useful for creature design for these 2 creatures. The first one is a Varimu mastering compressor. On the parent bus, that it really helps to glue everything together as one voice. Why mastering compressor? Because then it's gonna be very subtle in the way it brings things together, not so exaggerate. And we are still with a Varimu compressor, so I think like tube kind of compressor. And to me, it's really good because it brings kind of color to all those sounds of this creature voice. And what it is doing basically. That's a bit what I say here also with parallel processing. We are going to color all the sources with the same sound, the same machine or vintage hardware emulation with our plugin. It's very important because we get all those sound banks, our own sound and everything put together. And sometimes these sounds is the sounds we need, but they are really too far in the way, they have been recorded, the machine we have used or the microphone or whatever. So using this same kind of like enrichment for the spectrum really bring everything back together. And I think that's really a very good way to glue as one voice. So I want to show you a short example here. So for this example, they might sound a bit subtle because I choose not to do a demo of the plugin, but more to show you exactly how I use them in my design. So you can really see exactly the amount of wetness I use with this plugin. So yeah, it might be a bit subtle, but like stacked together, all those examples, all those techniques really make the difference. Sorry. Another point is another tool that I really love a lot is the Entropy EQ by Sonyball. It's really a magic tool because what it's going to do is on the full spectrum, you can boost or decrease the amount of tonal signal you have in your sound, and the contrary, boost or decrease the amount of noise of like transient kind of sound signal you have in your sound. So it's really, really great, mostly for frictions, because then we can really get the max of the tonal sound we created during the recording. Yeah, it's really a tool I love a lot. Now let's talk about, again, space and stereo widths, but yeah, more space in general. I think I use 2 plugins. One is a Cleveground Ace2, but actually there is a lot of other plugins that do similar things, like Acoustica has also like a stereo control. Yeah, I think also Mastering the Mix released some kind of plugin similar recently. What it does is just that for each band, you can choose how much width you want with this mid-side function. So you can really control really well how wide is one part of the signal, band per band. So it gives a lot of freedom to tweak this sound. And another one is, again, by Sony Ball. It's called Proximity EQ. Again, a very magical plugin. Is on the full spectrum, we can choose how much we make a source feels closer or further from us. And this also is absolutely incredible because it really helps to blend very well sources together. For example, if we recorded a sound very close with our microphone, but we use a sound bank sound that it feels very more far, and then that's going to be very hard to feel this convincing as coming from the creature. So I also use that many times to kind of like bring the things in the same distance, feeling at the same distance from the player. Even if we are still into the DAW when we design that, but still it really helps a lot. Then the work given to Wwise is not going to sound weird because we already did that work first. So yeah, again, a plugin I really love a lot. And I show you this example on the breathing. I use several layers, and I think it really makes a lot of difference. Volume and pitch variation, they breathe life into voices. For that, I have two tools that I recommend a lot. First is tonering instability. This is simply a randomizer. So you can, with this plugin, choose the speed of the modulation you will bring in the pitch and into the amplitude also, and the amount of it. And that's all. You can also play with the stereo, but usually I use it mostly for amplitude and pitch. And keep it in the same field, stereo width. Yeah, very, very great plugin. Honestly, I use it on a lot of stuff. I completely changed, give that feeling of the voice being very real, of really coming from a living organism. And I use it also on pads and ambience, on everything actually. That's really a plugin that I love so much. And then, of course, Tremolo plugin. Well, I use Tremolator from Soundtoys Classic because I really love the analog feeling it gives. But any tremolo that you find the best works. And yeah, this point really changed a lot for creature design. Okay, so we went through all those techniques, and also we have our design ready of Chiroptera and Mastodon, and now it's time for the style guide. So the style guide is first a document, and I think it's really critical. Why? Because this is our manual of operation, right? This is something we should go back regularly again to really remember our initial intention, and it summarizes what we should do, what we shouldn't do, and why. It uses strong keywords that shape and maintain the direction all along. And it covers the whole spectrum of audio design. So we'll talk about emotions, style, material, tonal balance, mixing and dynamic mixing, even tech, such as, for example, the amount of emitters we want to use, etc., etc. This document will be very useful to me. I will come back regularly to it. I did a few screenshots here of my style guide for Mastodon, so it just shows some part of it. And I always go back to them, to this document, after working many days in a row and producing a lot of assets to really get back reminding the initial intention. After this document, we are going to do a video. So this video will be submitted to Livestorm and Disney for validation. So basically what we are going to do here is a video of 5 animations with different behaviors where we do the final sound for it. And we just present it like that. Okay, this is the sound that we will do for the creature. So this is the format that we use for validation with Disney and Lightstorm. So first, let's listen to Mastodon's audio style guide. And this is the style guide for Chiroptera. Okay, now we arrive to mass production, and this is we can think that okay, now we have our design validated, we are ready to produce. The hardest is done. Actually, mass production is also quite a big step. What it is basically the moment where we need to craft hundreds of assets for all the animation. So we will do the voice. In Avatar's Frontier of Pandora, there will be at least 10 different emotions for the voice. And each emotion contains between 1 to 10 sets of animation. For example, Chiroptera has 7 different attacks. And for each animation, we will need around 6 to 12 variation assets, of course, because mostly with tonal sound, the repetition is the enemy. After that, we will craft a Foley asset, of course, in parallel. That's going to be footstep. For the footstep, we have 1 to 10 different types too for the creature in Avatar, depending on the creature. And over 50 ground materials I use in Avatar, Frontiers of Pandora. So yeah, that's a lot, but it really fits like the pillar of the direction of the game. However, of course, this is for the player mainly, and all the creatures won't need that much ground materials because they only appear to some regions, and also for narrative purpose. For example, the Mastodon is only in an arena, so that really depends. And then, of course, body movements, environment impact. For example, we destroy everything in the arena for the Mastodon, etc. So yeah, that's a very big session. That really create a very impressive session. Yeah. So now I would like to share with you a few tips for productivity, variation, and quality that I found for the mass production. One point is increasing a layer's volume or muting it can be a good way to create new emotions while keeping the creature's identity. Right. So, for example, sometimes you just need, to make a bit different emotion, and you don't know how to manipulate the assets, how to make them feel different in terms of emotion. This is really a good way. Like I will show you here, for example, for status effects such as being poisoned or in fire, set in fire for the Chiroptera. I just mute and some assets and increase a bit the volume on some, and I really get very interesting design. Another one is volume automation, synchronized to the animation during intense movement. It can really amplify the emotion and add another level of realism. So I'm really talking about doing this into the DAW when doing the assets. yeah, that's so really like modifying the volume on the top of the bus to really change like the whole variation of volume and intensity of the voice. And yeah, it can really give that feeling, like for example, like that the body influence the sounds going out from the mouth, that the airflow is being interrupted or amplified. That's really something that I found works great to do. Warping is really a great technique for flinches and pain reaction. By warping, I mean taking one part of the sample and accelerating it and getting the other part slower. So we have this kind of technique in Ableton Live, for example. But in my case, I really like to use the one of Image Lane FL Studio. That's also changed the pitch with a function that is called Pogo. And yeah, I used it every time when I need to do pain and flinches reaction. And finally, a very important point is also to separate the vocalization sequence into as many assets as possible. So for example, like separate the pre-roar, the loading phase, the sustain roar, and the release. So it might sound less good in the end, less natural in the way the assets are going one after the other, but it will bring a lot of advantages. One is like it will give more flexibility for interruption in the engine. So because we are already ready to interrupt at more different area when we need to stop a sound, for example, with voice limitation on another sound, is more important playing and stopping this sound. It feels more natural. And then it will be also easier to set priorities in dynamic mixing. So for example, if you think that, like the main core of the roar is super important, cannot interrupt it, but we don't need that much importance for the loading, the breathing before the roar. Then we can set that this one will be interrupted in case of conflict in priorities, but the main roar will play no matter what. And finally, it creates more variation combination, because mostly in tonal sounds, like sequence can feel very repetitive very quickly. So this creates way more variation with like the random container in Wwise in those kind of sequence. Yes. Quick word on breathing. We have tried many times to have a constant breathing layer playing and sync to the breathing animation, being interrupted by vocalization, changing with RTPCs and switch based on the state of the animal, if the animal is tired or running, etc., etc. To be honest, I think that the ROI is very low on this kind of design. And usually, breathing is not even heard actually into the game. Like with all the ambience, the weapons, the music, etc. So I found that instead, designing efforts was actually something that was working very well. By effort, I mean just tagging on animation the most important movements with some kind of breathing, breathe out sounds, exhale. I found that worked very well. So yeah, we can check how it sounds. Okay, so now we have seen all the design from really the direction to the research, the crafting of the assets, the mass production, the style guide, etc. So it's time to see how it sounds in the final product in game. So this is the Chiroptera and the Mastodon in game.
This must be the Elder's nest.
Such a journey. Working on Avatar Frontiers of Pandora really was an incredible experience. That was really, really awesome. Such a blast. And the lore and the gameplay led us to do very advanced designs. So I think we never pushed that far in Ubisoft the wildlife before. So yeah, it was really both an opportunity and a challenge. It took me around 6 months to design Chiroptera's voice and produce all the assets and integrate them into the game until the last tweak, and almost 1 year for Mastodon's voice plus Foley. 830 sounds were crafted for Mastodon and 997 for Chiroptera. All this to say that I think that meaningful design, when we really take time to really do thorough work and quality, it really pays off at the end. This is what James Cameron and Lightstorm are doing for Pandora. I think this is really what shined to me the most in their movie, like the incredible world they have created that is so well thought in details, and everything is really, nothing is let random. Everything is really thought very carefully. And this is why I think this license, this movie, why Avatar is so special to me. And doing this in Avatar's Frontiers in Pandora was really an honor to be able to really go through the same kind of process for designing and creating those fantastical creatures. thank you for listening to my presentation. I also want to thank a lot of people because there are so many. I cannot go through everyone, but I just want to say that this team was absolutely incredible. Honestly, the team working on Avatar of Frontiers of Pandora was so great. It was really one of the best collaboration I ever had. So thank you very much to all of us. Thank you very much to all of you. Wherever you are now, on what project you are working, and like so many people from all around the planet Earth. So thanks so much for this collaboration that has been super enlightening and super fun, super nice to me. And now we can, now if you have some question, I will be very glad to answer them. Thank you again for listening and watching this presentation.
Thank you so much, Adrien. Oh my goodness, what a talk.
My pleasure.
I can't believe how in-depth this was in terms of like all the research and all the specific small bits of plugins and everything. Just surreal. Unbelievable. So yeah, thank you so much. We have like 3 minutes for questions, and then I'm gonna send everyone again in the hangout space. So I'm really sorry, folks. We're running a super tight ship tonight, or today. But let's see if there's any questions in the chat. So we have one quick one, which is, do you still have moments when the suspension of disbelief breaks just for you because you remember the single source file?
That's a very good point. Yeah, I think I think I at some point I can totally forget what I use at the beginning. When we go so much into, because we use this source material, I think the most important is to imagine the potential of the sound, and then with plugins and things that we are gonna use, what we can get from that. So I never have like that moment. Yeah, actually, some moment I'm really, wow, this is really the best sponge I've ever had, and even, this sponge at the beginning was the prop I didn't plan to use, because I just wanted, to clean the because I used the window of the wardrobe that in our sound recording room. And I say, okay, I put a lot of mess. I use some shoes on it and stuff. So I really want to, clean after that. And the moment where I clean, and oh, no way. And at that moment, I'm like, okay, this is probably the sound. Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, we have another question actually. Was there any real-time processing using game parameters to get new sounds in the game apart from location and attenuation? Would that be integrated in the style guide?
Very good point. Did I use some? I think most of it is made into the DAW. There is still quite an advanced way to integrate sound into, like, I think really the most important is when we bring the sound into the game, we have to add so many parameters, right? A lot of azimuth, RTPC. We have to think a lot about reverbs and everything, and to really make sure that it feels coming from the beast. I think that's very important. And also another stuff I didn't say why I was so focused about, like 2D and stereo and that kind of stuff, because I use a lot the RTPC 2D to 3D instead of spread and focus. I don't use this anymore. Very good tip by my colleague Mathieu Bonneau doing the tech on Mastodon. Shout out to him because he did also very good work. And this way I can really enlarge a lot. I can say, okay, I designed the closest possible the Mastodon when I'm here, and then I let Wise, getting a bit more mono when I get away. Otherwise, no, I think really just a very advanced way to use a lot of assets and to really think about sequence, separating the breathing, the preload, the raw, the release, etc. But I don't usually rely too much on Wise to create new sound, I will say, because I think it can work for some stuff, but because for creature design, we really want to be grounded. I think it's really hard to let, the engine doing something like a bit that we don't control that much. So that's why, but that's a very good point. Yeah.
Interesting, yeah. There's a related question to this. Did you do any A/B testing of the stereo collapse of the sounds when played from Wwise? Did you find that using stereo assets was worth the trade-off for the sound bank size?
Yeah, definitely. That's also a very good question. Yeah, definitely. I think it works a lot. I think as soon if we are doing really small creature, I think it's not really a problem. But as soon as we want something to be impressive, the Mastodon, of course, but the Chiroptera too. We want really to be scared and stuff, and we need to really like go with stereo assets. Afterwards, there is a lot of work to optimization. That's so like a good point. First, for the Mastodon, I'm lucky that I am in Arena, so I can really like blast the sound bank. Basically, there is just the player and the creator into the arena, even if a lot of the idea arrive at some point. But we did a lot of tests like that, and I was able even to use like quad sounds for doing like the destruction around, for the tusk, all the debris sweetener and stuff. So we could go very far with that. And then for the Chiroptera, it's a lot of also optimization. Like really, I have a lot of limiter, like to, for example, kill all the sound that I found less important than the other one. A lot of azimuth RTPC. If I have like one creature doing one attack, I keep this one and I kill the other sound that are on the side that are not part of the attack, etc. So it's a lot of optimization. And the last stuff, we have also a very good tech in the Snowdrop engine at Ubisoft, which is called the emitter manager, which we can define a budget of emitter for each for categories. So for example, the Chiroptera will go into the predator category, and it just limited to 9 emitters simultaneously. So I have very tight budget like that. So of course I have the limitation in Wwise, but I have even the limitation into Snowdrop. So with that combo, I can be sure that I'm not gonna blast the amount of voices and the sound bank. Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's really fascinating, and also to hear some of the Snowdrop engine components. Unfortunately, we are out of time now because we have another talk happening on YouTube in 12 minutes time. So there have been a couple more questions. If you want them to be answered, they will be in the Hangout space. So please do go to the Hangout space, tag Adrien, and get your questions answered there. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. And thank you to you for the incredible presentation. Really appreciate it. Link for the next talk is here. We're going to be talking about creatures some more, another creature talk, and this time it's all about recording. So we're going through the whole process. This is going to be exciting. And yeah, see you all over there. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you, Adrien, and have a great day.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.